Hello and good morning. Welcome to Ice Cream Uploads here on Tuesday the 17th?
Tuesday the date of date.
Yeah, I think it's the 17th today. It could be the 18th, I'm not too sure.
Oh no, it's the 18th.
Is it the 18th?
Got it on my pad here. 18th of February.
Oh, this is a fucking howler. But yeah, we'll start again. In fact, 1 minute. We'll try this again. Hello and welcome to Ice Cream Uploads here on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. We go live 10 a.m. every single weekday. I mean, if you are listening to this audio podcast, I apologise because it's an absolute fucking shower of shit. But it is Tuesday, it's the 18th of February. I hope you're all doing well. How are you doing?
Got a bit of a cough, but I'm alright. I'm getting through. Yeah, fine. How are you?
Well, sounding probably a lot better than you. I mean, apparently I can't speak words again. Every time I come to host this thing, without Graham's powers and loudness and him being able to deliver an outstanding introduction to the show, which I seem to balls up every single time.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, you're better than I am and that kind of stuff. But we'll get through it together.
So we have a stacked show today. We've got a few topics. One that's pretty tasty, especially if you've seen the title of the title of what I've posted on Twitter. I mean, we have the same title on Twitter every single day, apart from the date changes. Yeah. We are the UK's #1 video game podcast. What more is there to say, really? But yeah, as mentioned previously, this is your daily dose of video game news live from the Ice Cream Uploads here in Blackpool. We are the #1 video game podcast in the UK, self-proclaimed. Yeah. But also stated by the people in the chat that joins us every single day. So, I mean, who are they to argue?
Exactly. When I hear something like that, I just assume it's true. So.
Absolutely. I mean, if you enforce the point enough, inevitably, people are going to say it is actually the UK's #1 premium video game podcast. So, who are you to judge us with what we say we are?
And I think the word premium I like as well, because like maybe none of the others are premium, and therefore we are the only and therefore the best premium podcast.
When we say premium, it means that they don't have to pay for it. But if there was to listen to this on any other podcast services, which doesn't cost a penny, Luke, where would they be able to find this?
Well, you could listen to them all for free on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, or Google Play.
You most certainly can. You can also catch us live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads every single weekday at 10 a.m. or an hour later after the show's finished on YouTube, because that's usually around the time it takes me to be able to cut the bits out and then eventually throw it on there without all the hoo-ha.
Cut out all the errors that we definitely haven't had so far.
Well, this is absolutely unedited. Every single day it becomes unedited, which is usually why it's a massive ball of shit.
Painfully unedited. Painfully unedited by Ice Cream Uploads.
But you see, what you say live is kind of, you have to live with it kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's the beauty of live, not even they don't even get it right on TV all the time, you know what I mean?
Not at all, mate. We get lied to every single day on the TV. We tend not to lie on here, apart from if it's something that's blatantly obvious a lie, which, funnily enough, Luke, Samantha says this is a trait that I don't have. I can't lie. I'm like, not the Truman Show, what's the one? Where he can't liar. Yeah, so it's like liar, mate. I can't lie, because when I tend to lie, I start to smile and my face goes bright red. So Samantha knows instantly when I'm lying or bullshitting, which is not a great trait to have when you're playing poker or something like that.
But in general, it's a good trait to have. It's better than this. You want to be honest whenever you can. It's what I try to be as well. But occasionally, I suppose it can be a bit tactful.
Well, as you've seen, I've just made a tactical switch because that is fucking well out again. So I thought I'd go for more water this time, just to try and ease my mouth. Anyway, again, we have got a jam-packed show today. We're going to start off with probably the biggest story that we've got to cover today. It is a lengthy one-ish, probably because we're going to have a lot more talking points about it. I know it's a game that you're familiar with to a degree, and something that I've recently got back into. I say got back into, I didn't really play it when it came out, but since the Star Wars thing came in, we've talked about it quite a bit. But yes, we're going to start with the brand new Fortnite news. It looks like there's been some leaks over on Reddit, but surprise, surprise, Reddit leaks fucking everything if they manage to get their hands on it. I've only just recently started to become a fan of Reddit. I used to absolutely hate it. But since I've got one of them little handheld MRG350, there's been a lot of advice on there on how to be able to format it, and I thought it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, see, for me, like, I'm kind of probably in the boat that you were in. Like, I haven't really got into using it much. For me, it's just more of like it's quite an ugly format, I think, interface or whatever.
It's horrific.
Confuses me. It's all it's just a lot of clutter. But I kind of appreciate the fact that I kind of know that the content there is good. There's a lot of people, like, whenever you Google something, inevitably like one of the results of a question that you want to ask is like a Reddit link or whatever. It's like there's a lot of content on there. I just need to get past that slightly horrible interface. But,
I mean, it actually works better on your phone, if I'm being honest. Like, if I was reading it on my tablet on my phone, it's much better than on the desktop. It just, everything seems a bit on the desktop.
A bit of a model and stuff, just not very. Like, I'm a visual person. I like to sort of have like icons next to things and stuff.
Sort of plain text with a few arrows in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird, isn't it? Big Zampa Monkey says joins at it's a lengthy one, standard practice, and says Reddit. He says Reddit is class. See, I was never in the Reddit camp. I just thought it was mainly a load of people bullshitting about something or other, and just a place for people to argue. Funnily enough, that seems to be the internet nowadays.
Yes.
I.e., Twitter is an absolute shit show at the moment. Probably because I'm a Man City fan, and it just seems to be with the whipping boys at the moment. So
there aren't many places that are sort of nice places to hang out on the internet nowadays. Like YouTube comments. Just the other day, I was watching, Squid Gaming. I watch Squid Gaming a lot. Good Twitcher, and she was on about how she used to do things with the Yogcast people on YouTube, but she doesn't anymore just because the YouTube comments were so like hateful towards her and stuff like that. Like, YouTube's just so horrible, but like Twitch is, I think, a lot better. And she said in her experience it's a lot better.
Well, it's a lot easier to moderate, isn't it? Like we have mods in our chat to be able to help us out, because sometimes when you're playing a particular game, you may have a couple of bellends come in.
Yeah, exactly.
And as a person who, I don't want to say preaches positivity, because it makes me feel fucking, it's such a goofy thing to say, but I'm not a negative person by any stretch of the imagination, and I really don't want people being negative in the chat most of the time. So people who mod for me when I'm streaming know that, and they will either tell the person to shut the fuck up and just be nice, or they just get banned straight away, because it gets to a certain degree. Fair enough, I can accept criticism in most cases, but when you are just being a fucking bellend, there's a very fine line, and you are usually ejected. That's why we have mods. It's a lot easier to do that live on something like Twitch than it would be to retrospectively go back through your YouTube comments and delete that shit.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I'm just going to have a quick look through the chat before we move into this. Spike says, I've been using it for years. If you know how to follow subreddits and you find the right one, it's the best place to hear all the news you could ever need in a single place, which is kind of where I'm up to now. I only follow like 7 or 8 communities, and it's just the standard ones. I follow a Pez one, a retro gaming one, gaming collections. Basically, it's just all the old shit. So, yeah, as you can imagine. Screw you both, this is supposed to be the scoop, not 2 gingers and a missing lady. Okay, this is where the line, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, I'm going to get into the news now anyway. For all you audio listeners out there, we don't need to be reading the Twitch comment, all the chat for you. So this is on Eurogamer. It's the article about Fortnite. We'll go through Fortnite's Chapter 2, Season 2, ARG drops, hints, worldwide, and it's going gold, written by Tom Phillips. Fortnite has begun teasing its long awaited new season with Chapter 2 Season 2 ARG, and it's all themed around gold and cats, which is absolutely fantastic. As soon as you think of cats and gold, do you immediately get sent to like the Egyptian type of things?
Oh right, okay, sort of. I thought you were going to go for, those like Chinese lucky cats. They kind of do that. Yeah, I was thinking of that. But one or the other, Egyptian cats is a good one as well.
Yeah, I immediately, as soon as I seen black, gold and cats, I just thought ancient Egypt. As soon as I think. Clues have begun popping up around the world in its physical locations, on social media, and within Fortnite itself ahead of Chapter 2's Season 2's release this Thursday, the 20th of February. Before I go on any further, are you excited about Thursday?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10 about the new how much? Forget that. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you sit on the scale about it?
About what, the Fortnite content and stuff.
Well, the new season coming on Thursday.
Probably at the moment, something like a 6.
Take it or leave it kind of thing.
Yeah, but really it depends. Like sometimes in the like upstairs in the office, when something like that happens, like certainly with the Star Wars one, because that was quite a big deal and quite exciting. switched it on and started the update and started playing it, and you get that little buzz again of this is Fortnite again. So I don't know at this stage whether I'm going to get that or not. It could just completely pass me by, or I could, we could switch it on and start playing again, and I get that itch. So difficult to say. What about you?
I am probably around high 7, low 8.
Okay.
Sorry, it's happening again every single time.
It's not a fail.
So yeah, I mean, me and Graham spent way too much time playing this when the Star Wars thing came in. I've never got to level 100 in Fortnite. I'll be very lucky if I got to level 20 before putting it down. So the new season, I've got enough V-Bucks so I don't have to buy the Battle Pass again. So I'm pretty happy to just be able to buy the Battle Pass and plough through it again. Chances are we are going to be playing it on dinner times again. As a 4-man team.
And I'd be up for that. And that would escalate my 6 to a 7.
Spike says Fortnite, and then it looks like it's a sleeping emoji. Not too sure. I'm just going to get back to the article anyway. A mysterious advert featuring a golden handprint was first spotted at a metro station in Sao Paulo over the weekend, before similar posts were found in San Francisco, Melbourne, Paris shortly after. Each advert features a phone number to ring, which in turn delivers a pre-recorded message. I did try click on this earlier, however, it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know why. It seems to have died. The phone number listed in the Sao Paulo advert delivers the following message in Spanish, as translated by fans on Reddit. Yes, sir, the agents were called. Card to access the vault purchased. English language teasers are spotted in Melbourne and San Francisco. Give this message. Agency recruitment drive is a go. Happy hunting, agents. Agents oil rig operation confirmed. Each message is followed by the sound of a cat hacking up a hairball. More on that later. As I said, this is a lengthy one, so if you've got a brew, if you haven't got one, pause this, come back and get one, because it does go on quite a bit. But it's of need to know news. So as you can see there in the what looks like a Twitter post by the Fortnite BR news account, we have all the locations which people have managed to find the things, the posters, the phone number for you to ring if you want to spend any money, and especially for the UK, ringing something like San Francisco is probably going to cost you a fortune, but if you don't want to do that, it literally tells you the message next to it on here. So it says, yes sir, the agents were called, card access to the safe purchased, and then I imagine the same thing in each language. Moving on to the rest of the article, Fortnite has now updated its own social challenge with the golden handprint image. On the game's Discord, a new bot named The Agency popped up and began giving users certain new mysterious role activated. Over on the Fortnite subreddit, specific users there have been given an activated flare too. In-game, Fortnite's Island... That's a very odd thing. Fortnite's island area is now as its own hint. Furniture items have begun turning gold. A couch, a teddy bear and a toilet. This leading to a fan theory that they have been transformed into gold by some of its Midas touch, signified by the golden handprint showed in the adverts. This also ties in with certain skin found in the files recently. The legendary Tier Aura, a skeleton made of gold who looks lavish enough to be the next season's Tier 100 skin. Then this is a Reddit post which people have managed to scrape the findings of what's in the game and put it into a nice little graphic for you to be able to see what's what. I would read it, but it's pretty much what I've just read, just put into a graphic for those of you that would be scrolling through Reddit. So it just features a picture of King Midas, the handprint on a poster, and then some gold settees, baths. Is that a printer?
Yeah.
That's a printer.
Yeah, print or fax machine or something. Filing cabinet. Yeah, pretty just random objects.
Yeah, and then continuing with the rest of the article, users who discussed the Oro previously have said that the big ones revealed the activated tag on Discord and Reddit. Fans have also drawn a link to the character's name into the phrase used in the English language phone message, which knows as an oil rig operation, an O.R.O. Has been confirmed. How does this link with Fortnite's story to date? Well, sat in the in-game toilet is a file showing the logo of the Evil Altar organisation, the antagonists through Chapter 2, Season 1's vague storyline. It seems likely that this organisation, whose agents are referred to on the phone messages. And then there's the cat, an audio file recently data mined from within Fortnite, mentioned someone, a Agent Meowsicles. That's how you pronounce that. Meowsicles, isn't it?
I guess.
Agent Meowsicles. When put through to an audio spectrometer, the file shows the image of a cat and a fish. This is another character skin to be introduced next season. The agent coughing up a hairball in the phone calls. I would love a cat character skin.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It'd be weird though, wouldn't it? Because it'd have to be tiny. You couldn't have like a full size cat with a gun. I mean, a cat holding a gun's pretty weird anyway.
It is, but then, has Fortnite shied away from weird before?
Well, I suppose not. The Agent Meowsicles audio put into a spectrogram shows a dead fish and a cat. Oh, great stuff. 3 days remain for more clues ahead of the new season's launch this Thursday. So, as stated before, I'm a high 7, low 8 in wanting to play this.
Yeah, it does sound good. I like the theme to an extent. I'm the whole King Midas or whatever he's called thing. Not sort of. I kind of know a bit about that sort of mythology, but I don't know extensively about it. But it does sound cool though.
See, I like all this ancient. It's not ancient Egypt kind of thing. It's like say it's more mythology kind of the way about it. But that skin is cool as shit, and I'm not a person who usually goes for skins. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. I've got the skin that I've got now. I've earned through playing the battle pass, and I think it basically is the B-Tech Sub-Zero, which I'm very much liking. I did have the what was Old Snake called? The one that's in there.
Oh, what in the game?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know which one you mean. The one that looks like him, but
yeah. So I had that in the game, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he does look cool though. Like you wouldn't be able to miss him from a mile away. Shiny gold.
Well, I'm more interested to see what the weapons look like, if I'm being honest, because I do like a good weapon skin. The ones that I've got now are all right. Again, I've not put any money into the game besides the one that I bought the season pass with. So everything that I've got, I've obtained by playing the game, which for me is the whole point of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fair enough if you can have the event stuff, like Graham obviously bought the Kylo Ren stuff, that was cool as shit.
Yeah.
But I didn't. If I had a gift card, then I probably would have used it to be able to get that. But I don't really want to spend my own money, especially if I know there's good skins along the way that I'll probably end up using anyway.
I know. I'm very much of that mentality of games, in that I like games to have like a sense of progress and unlocks and stuff like that. And if you just get them all at the start, I literally kind of have that mentality of, okay, obviously I'm playing it for fun, but also like, oh, what else am I really playing it for? I know it sounds weird, but you kind of need that extra thing, don't you?
Absolutely. Well, there's many a game out at the moment where you are able to just throw in £30 and have potentially the best team in a football game, or the best guns in a particular shooter if you put in 20 quid and things like that. Overwatch, if you want skins and particular characters, you're able to do all that shit. So if I have an achievable goal where I can spend, I'll probably spend like 60 or 70 hours playing through that battle pass on Fortnite, which is obviously a long time. I don't have a game that I'm jumping to at the moment, so if I'm playing The Division as it stands now.
Sure.
I've obviously got Fallen Order to go through as well, which I'm probably 30% of the way through it. So I need a game that I can just dip into for half an hour if I've got that spare. And Fortnite is definitely that game for me. So when the new Battle Pass comes out, I haven't actually played Fortnite for about 2, maybe 3 weeks, because I'm at the stretch goals now, and the stretch goals are like, kill 20,000 people. I'm not going to do that. And there's nothing to aim for. It's just XP, which then goes into your account, which doesn't unlock anything. So
it's just worth
no
waiting
progression.
for the next one, isn't it? It'd be quite good if there was some overarching content between seasons, I suppose. Something that you could kind of collect XP or some other currency for over the long.
Well, there was that I said at the beginning of the article. This is the longest it's been between seasons, and I think the season start. When did was it November?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's kind of weird to think that sort of black hole space sort of video that started it all off for season 2 is the same season as the Star Wars stuff, and then all that's been going for ages as well. And then, we're still in it now. It is,
it must be about 4 or 5 months,
something like
at
that.
least.
Yeah.
Spike says, "Sure, it's a cat coughing up a hairball. Fortnite season 2, the porn part." Mate, what are you watching if you're hearing cat? if cats is coughing up an hairball, sounds even remotely like what it is that you've been watching on some websites.
Yeah, although his next point, I'm glad I'm not the only person who thought, whose mind went to that.
Yeah,
Wowsicles. Yeah, just sound.
So yes, I am most definitely looking forward to play. I mean, I never thought in a million years I would ever be saying that I'm looking forward to getting back into playing Fortnite again. The best thing is as well is I love playing games with my brother because we haven't got the same taste in games. He hates football games. He doesn't like MMOs.
Right.
Any kind of sports game, not interested in whatsoever. He will never touch a Skyrim or an Elder Scrolls game in his life. So the only thing we kind of have that we can play is Fortnite or Rocket League.
Right.
I'm shit at Rocket League. He's flying up around the roof and stuff. He's only 14, so he's really good on Call of Duty, to be fair. But he's one of them like does 360 no scopes and stuff like that. He won't get the objective. He's too busy stunting and things like that. It's like, mate,
it's what the young guns do.
Yeah, it's capture the flag. Get your fucking ass up there and defend that. He's not arse. He just wants to shoot shit. So yeah, me being able to get back into this and spending a couple of weekends up at my mum's, taking my Switch up or my PlayStation, whatever it'll be, being able to play this, it's perfect. I'm very much looking forward to obviously getting back upstairs as well and playing it on dinners because that was fucking awesome.
It's always fun as well, isn't it? I mean, we've been playing a lot of Battlefront 2 at the moment, lunch, which it used to be, PES is always the traditional one we play at lunch, but more recently it has become Battlefront 2, and then Fortnite will probably like overtake that again at some point. It's nice to like have something that changes it every now and again.
Well, the way we have the layout upstairs is I've got a PlayStation on my desk as well as a gaming PC. In front, next to me is Connor's desk, and he has his PlayStation on his desk with his TV. And then in front of us is you, Jack, and Lewis, and you have one TV with the PlayStation and Xbox underneath, and then you play split screen. So we're able to get 4 on if we need to.
Yeah, exactly.
When you was playing co-op on that one screen, it seemed to like the frame rate just went through.
Yeah, the frame rate's awful in co-op, to be fair, and obviously you're not seeing as much either. And that TV is like a little bit dark, and I'm using all the excuses here, but that's why I lost. Yeah. But you've got sometimes you bring in your Switch, don't you?
I do.
Then you can have one screen per person.
Yeah, because obviously I've got 3 screens on my desk, so I can just plug my Switch into one of those, and then we're off and ready. Which is probably the likely thing to do because I'm so used to using my Switch controller and playing it on that. Someone told me as well. I'm not sure if this is true, and this would answer a lot of questions about how shit I am and the amount of wins that I've got in that game. But someone told me that, it's news that on the Switch you have aim assist.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I have no idea whether that's true or not. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like when I'm snapping my iron sights up that it's seeking someone. It feels so much like my brother changed all my controls. So when last time I played it, he's changed it to like Build a Pro.
Right.
So I'm trying to throw up a wall, and instead I'm throwing something down on the floor. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? It's just changed everything. But it doesn't feel like with the sensitivity and that it feels like it's snapping towards an enemy. It feels 100% manual like it does on my PlayStation.
Yeah, I've mainly played it on PlayStation, even a little bit on PC, but only maybe the odd game on the Switch. But I don't remember from playing it on, from what little I have played on the Switch, I don't remember any of that.
It could be then because we've all got Switches. Bring all of our Switches and then we're guaranteed wins, aren't we?
Exactly, yeah. Because if it's like cross-platform, and it's like, you've got an advantage there, surely.
Well, that's the weird thing because when I heard that apparently you have aim assist, I thought, but I'm playing with people on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Like in one party, we could all be playing on different. How does that work? How do I have the advantage in my party over everybody else? Surely that isn't the case.
No, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to get a second opinion or other sources. I think on this.
I agree. So if anybody does have a theory on if I'm talking out of my arse and I'm getting assisted kills left, right, and centre, then do feel free to let me know. I'm probably not going to pay any attention because it will dampen my spirits because I'm a real winner on that game. Do you know what I mean? I've probably got like 6 wins now.
Exactly, so. and all due to skill, I am very sure.
Absolutely, no luck whatsoever. All the facts that lightsabers was super OP, and that's all I rolled around with. But now they're not in the game, just have to use my sniper rifle. Anyway, speaking of Switch games, see that? That's a nice little segue.
Switched into it.
Oh, nice. We're going to go into an article now on Eurogamer. Now, I have played this game before on my PC and my PlayStation. I really enjoyed it. Never did I think that this game would be making over to Switch. This is perhaps going to be the biggest first-person shooter game on the Switch as it stands. We haven't got another decent shooter game on the Switch. As far as I can remember, again, if I'm talking shit and you do have a Switch, then feel free to let me know if I'm talking shit. But as far as I'm aware, there is no first-person shooter game on the Switch.
Doesn't jump out. Yeah, nothing jumps out at me. You've got Doom. I think Doom's on the Switch, but it's a different kind of game.
Yeah, and there's also Wolfenstein as well, but it's not. This is like a CS:GO type game.
Yeah,
where
exactly. It's not like. Doom's at like ridiculous pace, and it's an arcadey kind of shooter, isn't it? But yeah, if you want like sort of like your military style shooter.
Yeah, there's no Call of Duties, there's no Battlefields or anything like that, which I would put this alongside CS:GO as well. But anyway, do you want to take this article?
Yeah. Right. So this is a Eurogamer article by Matt Wales, whose name pops up quite often. Free-to-play first-person shooter Warface is now available on Switch, the first CryEngine game on Nintendo's platform. So long-running free-to-play FPS Warface has surprise launched on Nintendo Switch. Warface, which initially released for PC back in 2013 before making its way to PS4 and Xbox One in 2018, offers up a bullet-zinging selection of PvP and PvE modes, enabling combatants to step into the soldier shoes of 5 different classes: the long-range sniper, medium-range rifleman, tank-like SED, engineer and medic. Warface, in case you were wondering, is the first CryEngine-powered game on Switch and runs at 30 frames per second, 720p in TV mode and 540p in handheld and tabletop modes, according to publisher My.Games. By the way, I think that's like quite low, isn't it? 540p
low,
in
That's extremely low.
It also includes gyro support. Oh, is that how you pronounce it? I don't really know.
Yeah.
For more precise aiming, HD rumble, voice chat, and is playable online without the need for a Switch Online subscription. Switch owners will initially have access to 5 PvP modes: Free-for-All, Team Deathmatch, Plant the Bomb, Storm and Blitz, alongside all PvE missions, pitting human teams against squads of AI opponents, currently available on other platforms. 3 longer raid-style operations, the HQ, Cold Peak and Earthshaker, are also available at lunch. Available at lunchtime. Available at launch, with players able to unlock new content and game modes each week. Warface is available to download now on Switch, and the publisher notes that PlayStation 4 and Xbox One players will also receive the new Titan update today, bringing full content parity between home consoles and PC versions. Okay.
Alright, so for the benefit of those of you that are able to watch this live or watch this on demand, while Luke has been talking you through the article, I've been playing the kind of announcement trailer, the embedded video that's in this, which shows is very much a military boots on the ground kind of shooter game.
Yeah.
Now, for me, when I've played this game online, it is pretty much a carbon copy of CS:GO.
Right, yeah.
You'd imagine with Plant the Bomb and Team Deathmatch, Free-for-All, very, very much FPS staples of the genre, especially with Plant the Bomb being pretty much a CS:GO
staple.
Again, using the word staple, that's pretty much what they use in the competitions. That's the game mode that they use. So to have a game like this, now it was hugely popular back in the day, and I'm going to go onto Steam in a second just to be able to show you if it's still as popular as it was. So for the purpose of everybody else that's able to watch this, I'm going to switch the camera so that you don't have to watch this and I can do some research. But back in the day, it was quite a popular game. On the PlayStation, it was an okay game. It's just a first-person shooter. There's a lot better out there on the PlayStation and PC. Obviously, like we said, with the likes of CS:GO, Call of Duty, Battlefield, and whatever generic other FPS game. It's not so much like Halo, because obviously that's futuristic. You're in space and you have these little goblins and shit running around. But on the Switch, I think this will do extremely well, because there is no other online shooter game like this. There you go. It's in my library here.
Fitting a bit of a niche, isn't it? So it released 2013 on PC and then 2018 on PS4 and Xbox One. Do you know whether that was just like a straight port?
Don't know if it was a straight port. In fact, I think I've got it on my PlayStation upstairs on my desk.
Yeah.
Because I played it on when I got into it, I was playing it for like 2 or 3 months straight. But then again, without anything to be able to play for, it gets a little bit boring.
Yeah.
Showing it on Steam now, you can see that it's got a mixed reaction. All reviews, there's 53,000 of them. The release date was in 2014. Warface is a This is the one, Warface. Yeah, Jesus. I thought I typed in Warframe for a second. Warface is a contemporary MMO first-person shooter with millions of fans around the world. It offers intense PvP and compelling PvE missions and raids that you can challenge with a 5 diverse and colossal customizable arsenal. This does not sound like the same game, but it's the same name, it's the same game. As mentioned in the article there, that's the Titan update that is now received.
Yeah.
After reading this, I don't think it's the same version that's going to hit Switch.
Maybe
even
not,
on the
yeah.
article, it didn't mention that it wouldn't be the same version.
No. Bullet zinging sections of PvP and PvE modes. I don't know. I think it might. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's the same or not. But one of the reasons I asked about that date thing was whether they're going to bring anything new or different to the table versus like the original version, which is 7 years old now. And I was wondering whether that had, the fact that it's an old game originally had anything to do with this pretty poor frame rate sort of.
Yeah.
Not frame rate, resolution.
So I've gone down to the reviews, which pretty much are useless in most things, because a review of a game, unless you know the person that's writing the review and you have similar tastes, and you take their word as gospel, you either make your own mind up as well. So the reviews, the top ones for this are pay to win game. It's alright, if you hate yourself, you'll play this. Can't do practice, it takes forever to load in. Used to be fun years ago, and now it's just full of hackers who can literally take control of the server. Dead and bad. So we have got a mixed reviews. I mean, some of the people who are writing reviews have 1 hour played, which, I mean, this person has got 1,239 hours, and then he says that he's paid to win.
Yeah, it's weird to play so much of a game. That's ridiculous, actually. Those hours, Christ. And then say no, I don't like it.
It's very weird. This person, 1,841 hours. If you know how to cheat, this game is for you. Servers are taken advantage of by cheaters. Location and lag can be used, and the ping is a real advantage to those in long distances. Also, if you have a really good computer, hardware and graphics, you might beat the cheats.
The thing is, someone who's like played the game a lot in terms of hours and then posts a negative review, when I think about it, I feel like they're probably just had a moment of kicking the toys out the pram a bit. Like they've had a bad few games, sort of got frustrated with what they perceive as cheating, rightly or wrongly, and just like launched on Steam giving an emotional negative review.
Well, funnily enough, it shows you when they've written the review and at what point since how many more hours they've played.
Oh, really?
So the person who's put the pay to win at the top put this at 1,173 hours, but has since racked up another 100 hours in the game.
Yeah,
so do you know what I mean? 100 hours is a long time. That's enough to complete most games. Especially if you're playing an Elder Scrolls game or whatever, that's more than enough to be able to complete a game like that. So
I don't think I've ever played it. Do you reckon you've ever racked up 4 figures of hour playing in any game?
No, not 4 figures. No.
I've not, by a long shot, I wouldn't imagine.
I mean, the amount of times that I've completed certain games like Resident Evils and things like that, I don't think combined on all of the Resident Evil games I would have put 1,000 hours in.
No, it's a huge amount. Like I feel like if I played a game that's like getting towards 100 hours, I'm like, wow, this is a long game.
I think if you combine all of the Pro Evo games since the ISS days on the PlayStation, chances are I would have probably eclipsed 2,000 hours. The amount of time that I spent playing with my friends growing up, and then now playing online and being part of the PES community with PES Universe at the time, creating option files and things like that. Probably. Yeah.
Big Subby Monkey mentioned World of Warcraft there along with Elder Scrolls. I think if any game was going to be getting close to that for me, it would be World of Warcraft, I guess. But
yeah, well, the same with Elder Scrolls. With me, if I combined all of my Elder Scrolls time, chances are it probably would have reached about 1,500 hours. But in a single game, once I've done Skyrim, I'll probably go and buy it for another console. I've managed to pick it up 4 times now.
Yeah.
So it's just a phenomenal game, and you can't get bored of Skyrim. There's so many there's a million and one ways that you can play it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll build a new character and then it's essentially go and play the exact same build 40 hours later. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I know what you mean.
It's an interesting one. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online, I probably topped around 150 hours ish. I reckon.
Which, by any standards, is a lot. You know, a lot of playtime still.
But the thing is, I don't. This is such a shit thing to say, but I don't have as much time as most people purely because of the amount of commuting that I do, and the time that I have to go to bed to be able to get up for work. So I'll be lucky if I can get an hour and a half a night. That leaves me then literally my weekend to be able to pick up the games and. During that time, I'm doing whatever I need to do.
Stuff you can't do in the weekdays.
But in my old job, I would come home from work. Samantha would go to bed at 9 o'clock or whatever it is because she has to get up at 6 o'clock. Right. And I would play until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning because I used to walk 5 minutes to work in my old place. And I started at 8:30. I could live on 4.5 hours, but when I'm driving on a motorway, 4.5 hours is, you know what I mean? You're probably going to kill someone, never mind yourself. Back in the day probably I'll be able to do that, but not anymore. World of Warcraft is another good shout. I mean, like you just mentioned there, that's probably a game that you've played.
Yeah, I reckon so. Like, especially maybe combined with like the old one, and then I've just added a little bit extra to my total. I don't know what it would be though. I know you can bring it up, like, and it'll say how many days you've been playing it, but even like a day is only 24 hours. I mean, like, you have to do a lot of days to rack up into like 4 figures. So
I'm sure if Michael Willis are listening to this, they've got a stupid amount of hours, like 1,400 hours. That's rookie numbers to them. Like, I remember, like it was yesterday, growing up with them two. It got to a point where it was like 16, 17, 18 and wanted to go out on weekends. I'd say to them, are you coming out this weekend? Let's go to the pub. And they're like, no, we're raiding. That'll be a Friday night. It'd come to Sunday afternoon. It's like, are you coming to the pub to watch football? No, I'm still raiding. They'd just be sat there for 2 days straight. Just that was every single weekend. Like during the week on Thursdays, they'd be raiding until God knows what time in the morning. So for World of Warcraft, the numbers I can easily see racking up so much faster than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, when it came out, it had like that bad reputation, didn't it? It was a bit of a media thing for like people just forgetting about their bodily needs because they were just playing constantly.
Well, that's what that South Park made an episode beautifully about that.
I've seen bits of it. I think
it's amazing, but yeah, it's with like a football game, you could play the game for 3 hours and probably have. At least, if you're playing online on PES, about 9 games if you're lucky with you waiting around or whatever. But if you're playing alongside with your mate, playing couch co-op, 3 hours you could probably knock out about 20 matches. World of Warcraft, if you're playing for 3 hours, that's like the first part of the prologue of a raid. So
got out of the town.
It's a lot of time now. Do I think that this is going to be the saviour of first-person shooters on the Switch, coming back to Warface? I think it's definitely going to be the benchmark. There isn't another game like this available on the Switch. If it does well, can I see more, especially with the third-party support that it's receiving at the moment? I can absolutely see someone coming in and saying, actually, this works really well. I'm sure there was another game called like Modern Combat or something like that got brought out that didn't do well at all. Modern Combat, Nintendo Switch.
I feel like it, like you say, because there isn't really any other shooters on the Switch of that nature, it will just fit a niche by default. I don't necessarily think it will be an amazing port or anything. I think, to kind of reference that Metacritic guess sort of thing we mentioned the other week as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it only got like 60 or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think that necessarily means that people won't buy it because it fills a niche, like you say.
Yeah, so Modern Combat did come out on the Switch, and it was a mobile port of the Game Loft.
Right.
It was Game Loft, so clearly it's a mobile game.
Yeah.
And they basically just ported it over to the Switch. It couldn't have done well because I've literally never come across it on the marketplace.
No.
So no one's talking about it. I very much doubt anybody's streaming it either. So there is definitely a niche there for someone to be able to come in and put a game like this in there, especially if you're having PvP elements in there, because this for me is probably the only first person shooter online that they've got on there. Don't know whether or not they're doing multiplayer came over with it. I don't think Wolfenstein has a multiplayer, full stop. It doesn't strike me as a game that would have one.
No, the original one, and then I don't know whether the second one's out on Switch or not. It might be actually, but that's just got like co-op. It's not got like. I don't think it's got like a full-on proper multiplayer like online.
They've definitely got 2 on there because they brought that sub-story one. What was it called? First Blood or something like that. Wolfenstein. The Young Blood.
The Young Blood. Yeah, that's the one I was meaning with the co-op thing. But I don't think it's got like a multiplayer, like a proper like COD style multiplayer. Something.
Yeah. So I imagine if this does well, we will see. I mean, even if COD was to port over just an online part, like they've got COD Mobile, do you know what I mean? Put that on the Switch. Same with PES, you've got PES Mobile, put that on the Switch. Like, these can't be that difficult to be able to put through.
No.
If you've got... Have a look at the marketplace on Switch. It is full of shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's like there's £1 and £2 games on there that are absolutely shit. How have they managed to get on there? So with games like this, should be doing a lot better. But we'll see. It's definitely a benchmark for them anyway.
Definitely, yeah. I think Bethesda are the only company that really seem to be doing well with just like getting all the games on Switch and stuff in a consistent way as well.
Well, they've been making money for it as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like, we've got the Elder Scrolls Blades, which should have been out, I think, in November. I think that's coming out the end of March, which I've been playing on my mobile and my tablet, which is, for a mobile version of the game, it's still first person. It works. It plays well. It's a bit money orientated,
sure, yeah,
as you can imagine, for a free game.
Yeah.
But I mean, Skyrim on the Switch runs, for me anyway, extremely well. Like, it's been one of the best ports that I've been able to play of it, because I was able to play it in Jamaica and on the beach. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to lug over my PS4 and my PC to be able to play it. If I could play games like that over there, then so be it. Anyway, we've got 2 more articles left to go. I know that we said it was a meaty show. We've been discussing the 2 articles that we've got so far. I feel like these 2 are probably a decent way to round it off. That's why I pick them.
Cool.
So this one is on VG 24/7 and it's been written by Emily Gera. Sony is shutting down its PlayStation forums this month. It's the end of an era. Sony will be closing down its PlayStation community forum on February 27th. The closure of the long-running forum was announced in a post confirming both North America and European sites will be shuttered.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like right grammar. Right grammar. Doesn't sound like
right grammar.
Yeah.
Shuttered will be okay. I'll take your word for it.
Maybe.
The company appears to be funneling its community interactions into a social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the official PlayStation blog. The PlayStation forums was largely a relic of the PlayStation 2 era, and looking at it now, its community doesn't appear to be all that active. So while the company didn't offer an explanation for its decision, it is likely just part of the inevitable obsolescence. How do you pronounce that? Usually it's obsolete. Obsolescence.
Obsolescence. No, it's not obsolescence. Obsolescence. Yeah, it must be obsolescence.
Obsolescence. Of the old school forums in an era of mass social networks. Or could it be that they're cleaning house ahead of announcements? The PlayStation 5 launches sometime this year, and so far all we know about the reveal date is when they're going to unveil it. Sony has already said there'll be no show at E3 this year. Now everything looks like a sign of something to come. In the meantime, here is everything we know about the console so far, which I'm not going to click because we've discussed it so many times.
Ooh, yeah.
So, when was the last time you used a forum?
PES fan. I don't know. Yeah, probably something like that. Or I don't use them much at all. Back in day is potentially embarrassing. Well, it's probably one of those facts I should be embarrassed about, but I'm not. Travis, the band, right? Big fan of Travis. Best band in the world. Wait, wrong camera. Yeah, I used to be in their message board a lot as like a fan, and I used to meet. Yeah, I met a lot of people who I still like follow on Twitter and stuff, and they're really good for that kind of thing. But I think it's dead now. You know, it technically still exists. No one goes on it. They're all on like Facebook or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the case for forums in general. I think they've got a place in very specific areas. Like, I still find myself stumbling on them, like if I'm after like technical support side of things, or like how do you deal with something like an Apple or Mac or Windows or whatever, and I end up finding like this forum like or like music, sort of like gearhead style sort of forums, that kind of thing. But other than that, I think it's all like Discord or Reddit nowadays.
I feel like we've got so much better ways of communicating than forums, because there's, like I say, if I've got a question that I've a technical difficulty, so shall we say, and I pop it into Google, chances are it's going to send me either to Reddit, someone's Twitter account, or to an old style forum that is now in plain text with no formatting whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's been a dying breed for a while, which is obviously why forums just aren't knocking about on Reddit's have so many thousands of followers on there now, because it's still a place for people to be able to communicate. The last forum that I use, and in my eyes it's still a good job that it's around, is places like EvoWeb, where I can go and find my mods for my Master League and things like that, because they still work. I couldn't imagine having to troll through Reddit to be able to find the links for shit like that.
Yeah,
it just would not work.
Yeah, Reddit. I feel like Reddit's one of those things you just have to know where to go, because if you just go in on there to like browse in general, like just to, I can't imagine it being a very good interface to like search for something. You have to kind of know the address almost already or something.
Yeah. So Spike might be able to give us a clue about this, but on Reddit, I'm not sure that they have things in categories. Right. So the accounts have pages, so you can go in and you can find the Pez page, which is fine. But I don't think there's a way. I'm not a seasoned veteran on Reddit, so again, correct me if that's the case. But I don't think there's like tabs on the left hand side that'll funnel you into places. So like they'll have one for editing, one for Master League, one for goals of the week or whatever on the side that you can drill down into. It feels like to me I just have to scroll through every post that comes up to find something that either interests me or I'm looking for. It's really weird.
No, I know. Like I say, like I use it even less than you, so I'm not too sure. I know that there's such things like subreddits and stuff like that, and I kind of assumed they were sort of like categories, but I don't really know.
Fatman Dave says, I don't think I've heard anything from Travis since Turn.
Which is a tune, but you definitely have, because the song Sing came out after that. You know Sing, right?
Sing was a banger, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and then Side, and Flowers in the Window, and then a few others, like Closer. Yeah, they did go a bit downhill though. After, like, last couple of albums aren't as good, but anyway.
Enough about how shit Travis
Sorry, I completely thrown that.
No, I've just blue screened a little bit. The fact that they're getting rid of these forums now, and they're saying that they're going to be moving things to the likes of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the official PlayStation blog. They still bring out a PlayStation magazine, believe it or not, in physical form. Right, if you go to Asda, you can see that on there. Do you think eventually... I don't like the fact that... Everything always changes.
Yeah.
Like the evolution of us not having forums and things like that going forward. Do you think that they're trying to play on the fact that they're removing this because of it could be being potentially obsolete? Now, the article did state that they think it could be something that they're gearing up to. So do you think that they're going to get rid of it to bring it back into a bigger form and point people back into that direction? They said that the forums wasn't as active as they used to be, which is... We understand that.
Yeah.
People move on. They're using different forms of social media now. But do you think that putting information out via social accounts like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram is the right way of getting their message out?
For me, I would replace a forum with Discord. Like, so if they sort of got rid of forums, I feel like they would still need some place that was similar enough. Like, because Facebook and Twitter, they're for very specific things, aren't they? Like, it's the channel posting out and people can comment on it, but it's not like it's a room to discuss things.
Well, Twitter for me is more of an advertisement platform. Yeah. That's what they use that for.
Yeah, marketing either businesses or we all market ourselves, I suppose, in our own way on Twitter. But it's not like discussions as such. It's a bit clunky. But yeah, either Discord or Reddit, like I say, are kind of like places where I think they would have to set up. I don't know how many like businesses or game companies or whatever have their own official Reddit, or whether it's something that really only users set up for themselves. But
I think, again, forgive me if I'm wrong, if anybody is a seasoned Reddit person, then feel free to let us know. But I'm sure if someone was to set up a community, for instance, if someone was to create a Jelly Media one and we didn't have one, we can inherit that because they're using our name and profile.
Sure. So they could maybe take over one, or I don't know how well that'll go down if it was someone's precious sort of Reddit. But I feel like just to get rid of the forum and not bring it back in any form, would be a shame.
Yeah.
I don't think it's entirely out of the question. I think they might end up doing that. I don't know like what the costs might be keeping this thing running. Probably not too much for PlayStation. I mean, they're a big company, but
I'm not sure what they use their forums for though. So, for instance, using EA as an example, if you have a problem with how a game runs or whatever, someone would post a question, a person with the best answer would have theirs pre-approved and it would go to the top.
Sure, yeah.
So you could read through all the comments of people spouting shit about just turn it off and turn it back on again.
Yeah.
Or you'd have someone saying, go into your task manager, end the task of those processes, rerun, your game should run. That comment would be the best fit and it'd fit to the top.
Yeah.
How would you be able to look for something like that on social media?
Exactly,
you couldn't.
It would be difficult. You have to like, in any social media post about that kind of stuff would have to link to something else. Like, thinking about it as well, I was just thinking then, so that Command & Conquer remaster that I've gone on about once or twice, they have their Twitter and their Facebook and stuff, but it's the devs really talking to the community on Reddit, on their own Reddit, about like the latest updates in the games, and every now and again that'll be like a new post that will be announced on Twitter and Facebook, but it'll all link to this Reddit where people can kind of get people's feedback and literally use it to make the game, and it all seems very well done, like that approach. And it's for something that people, like remasters of old games, people are very like particular about, right? They want it done in a certain way, they want it done right, and they seem to be acknowledging that, hopefully. In a way that perhaps wasn't the case for that Warhammer one that came out that people hated. So I was just thinking, if they could set up their own sort of official space and Reddit or whatever, then maybe someone like PlayStation can as well. Or maybe it would be like the individual games, more like you God of War or Spider-Man could kind of create their own individual ones. But I agree. I think dev sort of stuff it's useful for that, or at least to have their own like web page and a blog or something. Or I know it's not quite the same. It's not like a chat room in that sense, but somewhere where like you can communicate big amounts of information, I think is useful, and forums used to be used for that to an extent.
I feel like forums are a dying breed, but without it coming down to cost, the cost of someone having to man something compared to someone that the community looking after themselves on a website, that may cost you some money, but then people looking after themselves. I mean, we are relying on people being helpful in that respect. But if you was to move all of your announcements, your FAQs, your fixes and things like that to, for instance, Twitter, and someone was to put, PlayStation was to release a statement saying this game's broke, go to this, do this to be able to fix it, and trying to squeeze that into 280 characters, the thread would be unmanageable because the one person or a team would have to go in and answer everybody's reply. Whereas in a forum, for instance, you could put that as your header and then the comments underneath, and you just upvote the best one so it'd appear at the top. As much as I think forums are a dying breed for whatever they use this forum for, which I imagine it was just for community shit, help fixes, blah. I still feel for a massive company like PlayStation, having somewhere like that would be the best place for answers.
I agree, there needs to be something like it, for sure. Whether it is another forum come back, and hopefully that is the case, because like you said, they're useful, or something similar to replace it. But I agree, it can't just be like Twitter. Like, Twitter's not meant for that kind of thing. And it kind of ruins the whole neatness. Almost like your brand image is going to get taken if you're kind of messy with Twitter.
Because your whole social presence, for instance, I know we keep on using Twitter, but for me it's the most powerful tool that's out there. Obviously Facebook has the numbers, but Facebook's so much more personal than a Twitter account is. Your profile would just be taken over by people asking questions about a particular thing. So when the PlayStation 5 comes out this year and people are having technical problems because it is the first console of this particular generation, do you know what I mean? So there is going to be people who are having technical difficulties. Your profile is just going to nosedive faster than if not. All the years that you spent marketing this profile and your games and your back catalogue and your having your tone of voice set for a platform is just going to go out the window because you're going to get inundated with people having technical problems.
Exactly.
They need to have a space where people are still able to go over and say, I'm having a problem with this, can the community help me, or is a mod going to come in and try and help me as well? So it seems like a very weird thing to be able to do in the year that a new console is coming out. We'll see how this gets, how they get on. I don't think it's going to go down well.
No, don't think so. We'll just, like you say, have to see whether anything comes back or whether that's that.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got one more article for you today, and unfortunately it is more bad news if you are a fan of this franchise. Now, I played this game when it first came out and it was a mess. Eventually, about a year or so later, I ended up re-downloading it and playing it, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, okay.
It was absolutely fantastic, and they did make a VR version of the game, which I did manage to play at Arcade Club quite a number of years ago. And it's interesting that for a first-party game, it is having their doors closed on them. But do you want to take this one, mate?
Yeah. Okay. So, what site are we on here? Controller Crusade.
Yes, congratulations. Your first article has been shown on the scoop.
On the scoop. Justin Arnott wrote this one. DriveClub, I'll start with the title. It's the end of the road for DriveClub. So, DriveClub is known for a few reasons. First, it was among the first batch of PlayStation 4 titles announced all the way back in 2013, when Sony first revealed the console. Second, it had a bit of a disastrous launch in 2014, when, after being delayed multiple times, it had critical server issues for weeks after release that kept players from accessing most of its features. Finally, DriveClub was the last full game created by its developer, Evolution Studios, whose work included the World Rally Championship and MotorStorm franchises. So it really came as no surprise when, on April the 1st of last year, it's just a joke, Sony announced its intention to turn off DriveClub's servers for good. The sunsetting of the servers means that the game is still playable, albeit in a limited form. From the onset, a big appeal of DriveClub was its social integration. That is, the ability to form clubs of like-minded car enthusiasts and grow together as you play the game. You could unlock cars and paint jobs, set challenges, and race other players all together as a club, with everyone's progress working together. The game and all of its DLC, Season Pass Bikes expansion, standalone DriveClub VR, were removed from the PlayStation Store at the end of August of last year, with the servers scheduled to go down permanently as of March the 31st, 2020. Yet for weeks now, players have been reporting connection issues, being unable to connect to the servers and having issues downloading challenges, updating stats, and seeing leaderboard times. Even though the servers are still live for another month, the experience is very hit and miss for the people still playing. So it goes that one of the PS4's heavy hitters, a stunner racer revealed alongside the system itself, goes out with a whimper. Soon all that will be left are a few unattainable trophies and memories. That's sad.
It is sad. I mean, for anybody, in fact, I'm gonna dip into the archives and see whether or not I can find a video on YouTube. So if you are a Drive Clubber, your chance are your video may be being shown in a second. But it was a fantastic game on the PS4. For the graphics at the time in 2014 as well, it was announced, I think, as a launch game, but unfortunately it got delayed a shitload of times, and eventually I ended up playing it. But it was a fantastic game graphically as well. It was amazing.
I think if you're going to try and show off the graphical power of a console early on, like driving games always seem to be a good one to go for, don't they? Like,
yeah, they do.
Like the cars and stuff, they just always look really, really good. Must be like easy to do somehow, I don't know. So
Dark Zero TV, thank you very much for sharing your footage. This is apparently in 1080, but I think they've just downloaded this off the PlayStation. I don't think they've captured this because it doesn't look as shiny as it usually does. But if you was a fan of something like Project Gotham Racing back in the day, or the original, it was weird because as much as a racing sim as it was, it did have an arcadey feel to it. As you can tell by the way that the cars go around corners, it's not exactly Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
So this guy was reaching 95 mile an hour going round corners, and he's just flipped his car. But as a racing game, I'm sure that it came out as a PlayStation Plus game at one point as well, so just to try and get it in more people's hands. But as a racing game, it was very solid. I liked the social aspect of it, so you can actually create a clan race, get money, be able to upgrade your cars, unlock them, get new. If you are a fan of designing and customizing how your car looks, I usually just end up sticking to the same paintwork that it came in, because I'm very boring like that when it comes to decorating things. But yeah, there was a lot to play for, and it survived quite a long time. I don't know whether or not they're turning it off this year so that they could potentially have it on the PlayStation 5. But it feels weird that they just turn off the PlayStation 4 stores this early on in the year, if that was the case.
I think it sounds pretty dead in the water, full stop to me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, from that article.
Yeah. For it to be, if it came out in 2014, that's a good 6 years of life. Now, life for any online game doesn't usually last 6 years unless your game is an MMO or something like that, where it's a live service game. The fact that they were still having challenges set 6 years later, that means that this game was either highly popular or they were just throwing money away because it wasn't doing anything. But clearly, if people was complaining, then it still had a install base, whether or not it was a very small one. It was just like the same 50 people playing it every single week. But
and it takes like staff time and work as well, doesn't it? Every time they want to like set up a challenge or something for a game that's like 5 or 6 years old and they're still doing it. I mean, you know, like I can understand when if the player base does get small enough, why a developer would be like, come on now, we can't keep pushing resources into doing this, you know. So from that point of view, I do get it. Obviously it's still a shame, but
yeah, the game itself was fantastic, and obviously if you are listening to this live or you're listening to it on the date that is the 18th of February, you still have over a month and a half to be able to go and download this, relive your memories, or trying to get that platinum trophy if you are a trophy hunter, because once this comes offline, you will never be able to try and get them trophies again. So if you're halfway through trying to get them, I'd suggest plugging it and carrying on, because after the 31st of March, you ain't going to get anything.
Yeah. Good shout.
So, how do you feel about today's show? I've just pressed the same button again.
Yeah, we've had a good one. We've delved into quite a few of them, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah, my mouth is dry and I've got a bit of a cough going on still, but you know,
we're plugging on. Do you know what I mean? I'm absolutely starving. Absolutely starving. But yes, this has been the scoop for today, Tuesday the 18th of February. We'll be back live again tomorrow, the 19th of February, and it's going to be a Wednesday. We will potentially be changing the time, so we have some work to do in the morning, obviously, because that's what we do. We work. I don't know what time it's going to be. We're going to discuss this between us, because it is going to be me and Luke again tomorrow. So we're going to try and work around what we've got going on. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what we've got going on, but we will. I'm thinking about 9:30, but we're not going to put that in cement just yet.
Just consider that a possibility, but just keep watching our channels basically on Twitter and Facebook, etc. We will tell you.
Yeah, could have put it better than myself. So from myself, we've got Abinio, and
from me, Gera.
Again, if you do see anything knocking about the video game hemisphere, you want to hear our opinions, you want to give us yours, then do feel free to tag Ice Cream Uploads on anything on social media, because that's our platform name across it. You've got Jeroen as well on Twitter, tag him. We've got Abinio and Graham_Day. You can tag him as well, because he will pass it over to us, even though he isn't going to be doing a show this week. But until tomorrow at whatever time we decide to go live, what have they got to do, Luke?
Well, they've got to stay frosty.
See you tomorrow.